Hey everyone, welcome back to Apollo Art Analysis. This episode we're to be studying a piece by the career 3D artist known as Stuz0r, and in this episode we're to be looking at the impact of iridescent light. We're also going to explore what it means to have a breakthrough, so let's jump right into it. So whenever you first see this work, we're met with this lone iridescent orb here set in center. Your first impression is likely one of shock or awe due to the absolutely incredible sight before us here. And so what you'll notice, of course, the placement of a main subject in center certainly makes everything appear to revolve around this central subject. We see this effect also further reinforced by a light on dark accent. Another thing you may notice is the kind of symmetrical format of this composition, what we would call near symmetry. We see this quite clearly, right? Even though it is, it has some deviation, there is no doubt about that. The greater scene is near symmetrical in nature. And of course, when you see elements of symmetry, it's always going to give a sense of balance or harmony in one way or another. But that's quite in contrast to the scene at hand here. And so the setting of this work appears to be caught in complete catastrophe and ruin. We see this quite clearly, right? It is a very gray and grim composition. We have broken rocks everywhere. It is just crumbling before our eyes. We even have a slight flare of what appears to be fire as well, all of course giving a sense of the tumultuous or a sense of ruin within this composition. So another thing you may notice, whenever I first saw this work, I only saw a single subject here, but after a short time with this work, you notice three subjects all staring at this iridescent orb. It's quite interesting, We ask ourselves, it almost seems reminiscent of a lone hero discovering, the goal or discovering the treasure after a long and challenging journey. So with this in mind, what do y'all see when you view this piece, or what do you think is going on here? It's a pretty interesting question. And so the title of this work as a breakthrough certainly points to the symbolism at hand here, right? We see this, it is a moment of discovery, a moment of revelation, and we see this ultimate moment of reveal here. There's no doubt about that. And so what we see, of course, is this kind of vivid crystalline sphere here in the center. It is possessed by that vivid, immense crystalline light. It always points to the magical or the metaphysical in some way or another, and we certainly see that within this composition. The charm in this canvas is just second to none, and it just possesses this work with that vivid visual energy. And so, of course, we look at this and we see a moment of breakthrough here. It appears as a portal of some sorts or another. We compare that to the ruinous or kind of tumultuous and broken surroundings here. We certainly see the symbolism at hand. Whenever you have a breakthrough, you are moving into a new state of being. You are open to a new revelation. You're open to, new ideas and new ways of conducting yourself within the world. And we see this in complete contrast to the rather grim and gray scenes surrounding us here. And so when you have a breakthrough, of course, you have that opportunity to be reborn in a new state of being. And we certainly see that within this composition. It's been a long time coming, but you finally reached your breakthrough. And what is next for us here? I think that's a pretty interesting question you may ask. And so there's no doubt that this is a stunning piece in so many different ways, from symbolism to the impact of the digital rendering. So, of course, this work is a digital rendering using the program Blender, of course, a very popular program and a very accessible program as well. If you want to get into the digital rendering medium of expression, I would say Blender is a pretty good tool to use. It gives you a perfect mix of accessibility and professionalism as well. So we look at the digital render, it always gives that incredible sense of realism. We see that it is so realistic. It feels as if we're standing here right within the composition. That sense of immersion is just second to none. And so, if y'all want to get into that, it's really a perfect medium. Of course, you can sculpt, you can kind of arrange things exactly how you wish them to be, and then create a perspective such as the screenshot or screen cap that we see here. Of course, we are staring directly at this orb, and the placement of that camera is vital, just as vital of the assembly as the scene itself. So an absolutely stunning piece, there is no doubt about that. One thing I wanted to ask y'all, what do y'all think the focus of this work here is? The focus the subjects, in a moment of discovery of this orb, or do you think the focus of this work is the breakthrough itself? I think that's a pretty interesting question you may ask. So yeah, I really hope y'all enjoyed today. Like I said, there's no doubt this is a stunning piece from symbolism to the realism of the digital render. There's so many different things you could talk on. Even a sense of texture. We didn't go too deep into there, but we certainly see a sense of the rough texture versus the much more delicate and crystalline texture that we see in center there. So like I said, really hope y'all enjoyed today. If y'all enjoyed today's episode, go check out the original artist, Stuz0r, doing some amazing stuff in the world of 3D art, as well as animation, creating those motion media pictures upon the foundation of the digital render. Some amazing opportunities provided there. So like I said, I really hope y'all enjoyed today. If y'all enjoyed this episode, go check out the original artist. My name is Apollo. This was Apollo Art Analysis, and I'll see y'all on the next episode. We hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you'd like to support our work directly, please check out our Apollo community tokens. Apollo Art Exchange is an ecosystem of art appreciation which elevates artists each and every day. Thanks for listening.